go to a happy place. Go to a happy place. No! God! Let's review this trash. What is up, guys, and welcome to my review of Adam Sandler's latest Netflix release, Happy Gilmore 2. As a lot of you might know, a number of years ago, Adam Sandler signed a deal with Netflix to start exclusively distributing all of his Happy Madison-produced comedies. And despite most of those films getting a lukewarm to negative reception from critics and fans, it has been an extremely lucrative deal for Adam Sandler, who has been making absolute bank. I think last year, maybe even the year before that, Adam Sandler was the highest paid actor in Hollywood, despite none of his movies going to theaters. And the writing has been on the wall for a while. All of us Adam Sandler fans knew eventually we're going to get a sequel to one of his beloved 90s classics. But which one will go down the pipe first? And it turns out the answer to that question is Happy Gilmore, one of his first and still one of his most beloved comedies. And I'll just be blunt right off of the top. I absolutely adore Adam Sandler. He is one of my favorite people on earth of all time. Like in the 90s, him, Jim Carrey, and Arnold Schwarzenegger were like my three heroes. Any movie that they released, that was an event film for me. And most of my favorite formative comedies of all time are actually Adam Sandler movies. I did a top 50 comedies video just a number of years ago. There were plenty of classic Sandler comedies in there, and Happy Gilmore specifically, I think, was in the top half. But I haven't really enjoyed an Adam Sandler comedy in maybe 15 or more years. I think Click was the last one that I genuinely loved, which was like, what, 2004, 2006, something like that. It's been a long time. I don't know if it's just that he hasn't produced quality stuff. I don't know if I've just outgrown his style of humor. I don't know if the times have just outgrown his style of humor and he hasn't evolved it much, but it's not an unpopular opinion to say that Adam Sandler comedies just aren't made the way that they used to be. And so I absolutely expected that I was probably not going to be such a fan of Happy Gilmore 2, but I had hoped that at worst, this would just be kind of a passable, forgettable sequel, that maybe there'd be a couple of funny bits, maybe there would be some heartwarming and nostalgic moments or returning characters or music cues or something like that to kind of tug on your heartstrings if you're a fan of the original. But because I love the man, I tried my best to have some hope and some faith that he would make Happy Gilmore 2 as good as he possibly could, that he would literally put his best foot forward, they would do the best job they could at writing a script, and we would get something that at least had some form of value and hopefully didn't feel like he just cashed a check and did yet another Netflix movie. Never expected this to come anywhere close to the original. Didn't have a snowball's chance in hell at doing that. But hopefully it's at least good. Hopefully it's at least mildly funny or entertaining. And I'm here to tell you, that is not the movie that I saw. For as bad as I feared this could be, somehow the reality of it is significantly worse. And the basic premise of Happy Gilmore 2 is that a number of years after the original, Happy Gilmore is still enjoying being on top of the golfing community until a family tragedy sends him into a dark spiral of alcoholism and depression. But his youngest daughter wants to go to a prestigious ballet school, so he decides to dust off the golf clubs and get back into the game. Starting off with the positives for Happy Gilmore 2, the one piece of this movie's nostalgia bait that absolutely worked on me is the soundtrack. Now, there's a number of songs in here that aren't references or aren't carryovers from the soundtrack of the first film that just make for a good collection of music, which I really love if you're a classic rock fan. But all of the songs and music cues that carry over, specifically Lynyrd Skynyrd's Tuesday's Gone, those moments did work for me. Even in moments where it didn't really feel like they earned using that song, somehow the musical notes still kind of got me. While I think it's bizarre the amount of times that we get moments like this in the film, when it tries to be actually dark and depressing and serious, you do get a really good performance out of Adam Sandler. Like, he has nothing left to prove as far as his dramatic chops. The guy is unbelievable, and I really hope we get to see way more of that side of him as he gets older and continues to make movies. But those moments where we're forced to be around the dark, depressed alcoholic that Happy Gilmore is in this film, I think Adam Sandler absolutely sells it. And speaking of somebody that absolutely sells it, Christopher McDonald was having an absolute blast in this film, and I had the most fun watching him. Now, his character is extremely over the top with where they take him story-wise, and there's certain directions that I really didn't care for that I will elaborate on later. But as far as the performance, as far as his comedy chops and how sharp he still is at being Shooter McGavin, I think he showed up to have an absolute blast, and you can tell he definitely did. Like, he understood what the movie needed from him and fucking delivered. And of all the cameos in this film, all 2,467 of them, whether it's a sports commentator, a golfer, a basketball player, a football player, an influencer, a rap artist, the one that I really enjoyed was John Daly, who is a famous golfer who is also famous for his horrific diet. But I like the fact that his role in the movie felt like it was a role that was actually written for him and his personality to embody. It was written for John Daly to be very funny, to bring this character to life. It wasn't just a little placeholder to throw a famous face in. It had a reason to be there. And him being somebody that is, sucking on hand sanitizer and giving some really weird, heartfelt advice to Happy Gilmore in random moments that he doesn't even follow. Like, there was something goofy about his continuing presence throughout the film that I actually appreciated. And unfortunately, guys, that is all positive that I can pull out to say about Happy Gilmore 2. And don't get me wrong, I wanted to really like this film. I wanted to be wrong about it. I wanted Adam Sandler to put his best foot forward and prove all of the doubters, myself included, wrong, and deliver something that's absolutely worthy of the Happy Gilmore name and at least captures some of the magic of the movies that we all love and cherish from the 90s and even some from the 2000s. But that's just not the movie that I saw. And I knew what to expect with this. I didn't go in expecting an awesome script or go in and expecting some awards-worthy movie. I didn't go in expecting this to even be on the level of the original. I just wanted to have a good time, even if it's a dumb good time. But whatever mix of everything they went for here just absolutely did not work for me on any level. Right off of the bat, just the story that they decided to tell here was incredibly jarring and a major turnoff for me. Now, spoiler alert, I guess, the first 3 minutes of the film kicks off with this shockingly dark plot point where Happy Gilmore hits a golf ball and kills Julie Bowen, his wife, his love interest from the first film. Within the first 3 minutes of the film, that's how it starts, is, yep, fuck her character, now let's carry on. And I already see some of the comments. Did you watch the first film? Because the opening narration montage bit in the first film, his mom leaves him and his dad gets killed by his slap shot. It's exactly the same joke. The major difference here is in the first film, we don't know and have absolutely zero attachment to his mom or his dad. That is literally just like a dark joke. Whereas this one, it's a legacy character coming back. It's somebody that we have not seen in 30 years. It's somebody that we're just excited to get back into the fold with as Happy Gilmore and Shooter McGavin. And another major difference is that Happy Gilmore didn't spend the rest of the runtime of the first film being a dark and depressed drunk. And it's kind of a sick, twisted joke, the fact that Julie Bowen is second billed in this movie. She was on all of the press tours of the film, sitting right next to Adam Sandler and Christopher McDonald, getting all the fans excited. There was even this news quote, this article quote that went out early on in the press tour where she basically said, "I was so happy and surprised to be welcomed back to this movie. I would have assumed that I would have been replaced by a Sydney Sweeney type." No, it's okay, Julie. We're not going to replace you with the new hot it girl, but we are going to kill you in the first 3 minutes. Not a good place to start, in my opinion. And where it goes from there, I just don't understand tonally why you would have Happy Gilmore be such a somber character. We want anything but. His fucking name is Happy, for Christ's sake. I mean, even in the first film, when you lose a beloved character like Chubbs and his ridiculous death, I don't know a single person that watched Happy Gilmore that said, you know what, I was on board for the movie, but then I was just so dark and sad and depressed that I couldn't enjoy the third act after he fell out the window. Why? Because the original movie treats it as a joke, and it has fun with it. It's a gag. It's a laugh. Whereas this one, it actually makes you marinate in the darkness and the depression of it all. Why? Oh, well, you see, they needed a narrative reason to have this recurring prop gag where Happy Gilmore hides a flask in literally every inanimate object around him. It's just tonal whiplash to the most extreme in a way that just makes no narrative sense whatsoever. You have Happy Gilmore bursting into tears in the middle of a public restroom stall in the same movie where a pigeon takes a giant shit on a golf ball to knock it into the hole. And if Julie Bowen's death wasn't jarring enough, Shooter McGavin immediately being friends with Happy Gilmore might be even more bizarre. Like in the first half of the film where Christopher McDonald is literally like in his Joker era walking out of an insane asylum, it's ridiculous and over the top, but I was kind of here for it. I was like, okay, he's chewing up the scenery. Let's see how ridiculous this rematch is going to be in the back half. No rematch. They have a quick little fight and then they high five and they're on the same team. Somebody that nearly had him killed by getting him run over by a car, tried to make him and his grandma homeless, stole his jacket, and then spent the next 30 years in an insane asylum, presumably planning his murder. Yeah, just, hey man, what's up? It's been a long time. How you been? I don't understand. I don't get it. Make that make sense. Like, is it the most obvious plot possible to have a Happy Gilmore 2 where there's just this ultimate rematch between Happy and Shooter? Is that something that literally anybody could come up with? Yes, but I would have much preferred that. Sometimes the easy answer is the best answer. Whatever this was, I don't get it. And it's all to make room for Benny Safdie's character, who is like this extreme sports influencer guy who wants to have this extreme version of golf. And so it's really about the old era of golf versus this new TikTok influencer flavored version of golf. And that's what the movie's about. It builds to a third act where we're having like a putt-putt extreme. And everybody on the extreme golf side has literally had a surgery where they have like tendons severed to be able to have that Happy Gilmore extreme swing. What the fuck is this? Moving on from the story, this thing is so reliant on nostalgia for the original film that it's basically almost a sizzle reel for the original, which is very bizarre because every single moment that they're about to do a callback line or revisit some kind of a gag from the original film, they literally prelude it with like a 10 to 15 second flashback sequence, as if we don't remember or have never seen the original film. So they need to remind us who Ben Stiller's character is. They need to remind us who Chubbs is. And that choice just creates a myriad of confusing problems. First of all, it gets very annoying and borderline insulting as a fan of the original to have the movie consistently treat you as stupid, as if you don't remember iconic moments and characters from the movie you very clearly love. But also, the jokes don't work if you don't already have that pre-established love and knowledge of the original film. So it leaves you with this question of, who is this movie for? Because if it's for fans of the original, I don't need all these little preludes. If it's for brand new fans, none of these jokes land because they don't know what the fuck you're referencing.
Man, I wish my father was here to see this.
Yeah, jackass! Jackass! Jackass!
There he is. Unfortunately, he's in the great sizzler in the sky.
Added in with the fact that it makes all these gags all the more cringeworthy. Like most of these long-awaited sequels to classic comedies that try to do this, and they all do, they try to recycle an iconic bit, and it's never anywhere near as good or as funny as the original. It's even worse when they prelude it with an entire flashback sequence. It's like joke Cliff Notes. And the amount of times that the movie relies on these moments to be its best gags and its best segments, it's just kind of sad and upsetting. Like every single bit from the original film has to be referenced. Every single character has to make a return here. If the actor has died, then we'll just insert a random person as that character's son and then recycle the exact same bit. Oh, you're Chubbs' son. Oh, and you also have a wooden hand. Let me grab it and crush it just like I did in the first film. Isn't that hilarious? And if the nostalgic gags weren't an overabundance, my God, the number of cameos in this film is astounding. Like the credits at the end of the movie are like 10 or 11 minutes long. And I didn't watch them, but it's probably because they had to give credit to half of Hollywood, the NFL, the PGA, and the NBA, because they all show up in this fucking thing. It's as if somebody looked at the first film and said, you know that Bob Barker bit? That's the best part of the film. We should make the entire sequel that over and over again. Cameos can be awesome. That Bob Barker bit is iconic. It is hilarious because it's a great moment that makes sense narratively for him to show up. and be such a turn on what you expect the host of Price is Right to be. But when you have a cameo every fucking 4 minutes and none of them have a purpose to be there other than, hey, look, it's Travis Kelce as a waiter, it just gets mind-numbing. Like, it's an ongoing joke that Adam Sandler just goes off with his friends for like a vacation and brings some cameras and comes back with a movie. This is like the extreme of that, where he just called everybody on his cell phone, was like, hey, you want to be in Happy Gilmore 2? I'll write a scene for you. And that's what the whole movie feels like. It doesn't feel like they had a bit or a joke or a character here and who would be funny to cast there. It feels like, oh, Post Malone wants to be in this movie? What can we write to get Posty in here? And the sad thing is, for the myriad of issues that I just listed off, all of that could be forgiven if the movie was just funny. If it actually had some good bits in there, if it actually made me chuckle throughout. I can forgive a lot if a comedy is funny, just like you can forgive a lot if a horror movie is scary or has some good gore. But I didn't laugh a single time here, and it's not because I'm some stuffy critic that doesn't understand comedy. Like, I long for the day that we get some of the comedy magic that we used to have in my youth. But this just isn't it. You can't just bait me with nostalgia and reference 1,000 things from much better film and show 2/3 of Hollywood in little tiny roles to get a chuckle out of me. I need more than that. I need something to actually be funny. And unfortunately, this movie's chosen style of humor is quite literally the epitome of beating a dead horse. Everything that it tries to do, it turns into a recurring gag, and it just overdoes the fuck out of it. Whether it's the cameos, whether it's the references and the flashbacks and the drinking hidden flask gag, or hitting somebody with a golf ball. If it happens once, it's going to happen 60 more times in the film. And so unfortunately, we end up with a movie that isn't just disappointing and frustrating. It isn't just a sequel that pales in comparison to the original. It's a sequel that does things narratively with its characters and its story that actively makes things in the original now worse. Bad remakes never affect the original to me. I can easily just ignore them, discard them from my memory. They don't even count in my head canon. Bad sequels are much harder to ignore, because now anytime I watch Happy Gilmore, there's a little part of my brain that's going to go, oh yeah, but then it leads to this afterwards. Yay. And so now, me going to my happy place is trying to pretend that this movie doesn't even exist. And I'm not going to dwell on this long, but the amount of toxic and gross discussion that I've already seen surrounding this film, pretty much all coming from the side of people who did enjoy this and are absolutely offended that some of us did not, it's pretty alarming. Like, at some point, I should just get tired of being surprised how ridiculous online movie discourse is, but then something like this happens where I just can't wrap my brain around it. So pretty much all we hear nowadays is that movies nowadays aren't as good, they don't make them like they used to, things aren't as funny or as shocking or as innovative as they were, and I'm tired of everything just being rehashes and nostalgia bait. And then you get a movie like this that is quite literally the epitome of all of that. And if you say anything negative about it, you don't have a sense of humor, you don't understand Adam Sandler comedies, and you must have expected The Godfather. What? Don't get me wrong, if you enjoyed this film, I'm happy for you. I am envious. I wish that I had that experience. I wish that I was sitting right there alongside you and I could high-five you when the credits rolled and said, fuck yeah, that was awesome, let's watch it again. But I absolutely did not have that experience. And if you're somebody that liked Happy Gilmore 2, but you are pretending that you can't fathom any reason why somebody else wouldn't, then you're just sticking your fucking head in the sand. Enjoy it. I'm not going to join you. All in all, guys, I expected this to be a disappointing film, but I did not expect it to be a film that frustrated me on this level, that kind of offended me as a fan of the original on this level. And it just furthers my depression of the state of comedy filmmaking nowadays. And all I can do is pray to God that Netflix stays the fuck away from all the other classic Adam Sandler movies like Big Daddy and Waterboy and Billy Madison. And God help Netflix, if I see Wedding Singer 2 get announced, I'm coming at you hard. Stick to Fuller House and Love is Blind, bitch. Leave my classics alone. Well, that's it for this one, guys. If you enjoyed Happy Gilmore 2, please let me know in the comment section why in a respectful way. Like, share, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss everything in the future. If you want to check out more, I got my 2025 new release reviews right here, and I'll drop my top 10 Adam Sandler movies up here. And as always, remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean you have to be.